Welcome back to the Houghton Lake Public Library's series on using Windows 10. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the File Explorer. The File Explorer, as its name suggests, is where you go to manage and find your files. In order to access the File Manager, or the File Explorer, there's a couple different ways. The first and the easiest is this little brown folder. Looks like a little folder down in the bottom on your taskbar. The other way is if you go to the bottom left and click on your Start menu, there's a couple shortcuts right here to your pictures and your documents, and that will also open the File Explorer. We're going to start by left-clicking this little icon, this folder icon down in the bottom here. And you can see this opened up the File Explorer. To give a little overview of what we're looking at here, along the left side, you can see there's a bunch of clickable links that will take you to different locations on your computer. And on the right side, we can see more locations, many of which are the same as over here. It's just showing you what's inside of what we're looking at. So right now, we're looking at the Quick Access screen. The Quick Access screen shows you folders and files that you access frequently. So up at the top, we have folders like the desktop, downloads, documents, pictures, and so on. And then we also have some recently accessed files. Along the left side here, we have all these other locations we can go to. And one distinction that you need to make sure you pay attention to is that all these items on the left are links, and as such, you activate them with a single left click. So let me click on the Pictures folder, and we'll go to the Pictures folder. And if I left click on the Documents, we'll go to the Documents. However, all of the items on this pane to the right here can only be accessed by double clicking. So you'll see if I click on Adobe here, it just highlights the folder. It doesn't actually go in there. So I want to actually go into the Adobe folder. I'll double click, and then it goes into the folder. And so again, to reiterate what you're looking at here, just so I can make sure it's clear, is that we'll click on something on the left, and then it will show us what's in that location on the right. So I'm going to go click on my documents here. And you'll see all these items here, such as this resume and all these folders, are items that are inside this documents location. And I'll do the same thing for pictures. So if I click on pictures, it shows me all of these items that I have in the pictures folder. So some locations you'll probably be interested in is number one, this area here called This PC. So if we click on This PC, it's going to show us our common folders again, so things like documents and downloads, but it's also going to show us all of our drives. So you'll see usually your C drive here is going to be your main drive that has all of your operating system files and program files and stuff on it, but you may also see some other drives, particularly if you plug in something like a USB stick or something, it'll show up here. So in this case, it's shown up under verbatim D, which is just the name of the drive. So if I double click that, it'll open up this drive here. And this is just a USB stick I have a bunch of work stuff on. But again, if you need to find files on your USB stick, you'll want to click on This PC, and then you'll want to double click on the drive that has your USB stick on it. So it'll probably be the name of the vendor perhaps, and it will likely be your D drive, maybe your E or F drive. One thing you may want to change when you're using the File Explorer is the view. So for example, we'll go to my documents here. And if we go to this tab up here that says View, you can see we have these options here. And as I hover over them, it gives me a preview of what it would look like. So for the documents, it's using the Details view, which is a good view to use for something like your Documents folder because it has this extra information like these timestamps when it was last modified. So for example, we have this resume file here, and it says it was last modified April 28th. If you had multiple resumes or something, you could look and see which was the most recent based on when it was last modified. So it's a useful view to use while you're looking at documents. If we go to our Pictures folder, you'll see the view changed. And rather than, I'll go back to Documents here, rather than having just the name of the file and its date modified, we now actually have an icon and we can see sort of a preview of what the file is. So in this case, we have these pictures of dogs. Now I can go to View and you'll see that it's set to large icons. If we set it to Details, like it was in the Documents folder, you can see that you now have the name of the file and the date and some extra information such as file size. But for your Pictures folder, this view is probably not optimal, because when you're in your Pictures folder, you're likely trying to find a specific picture, in which case having a preview of the picture is more useful than having its file size, for example. So if you go to View, you can change it back to what it was before, which was large icons. And then we can see the preview for the photo. And if that's not big enough, you can also do something like extra large icons. And then you'll have even bigger previews. So if you're ever trying to look for a picture inside of a folder, and the view happens to be set on something other than large icons or extra large icons, you can go up here to View, and then set it to extra large or large icons. Another thing you might want to do while inside the File Explorer is make some folders. There's a few different ways to do this. I'll show you the way I'm most used to. So we'll go to the Pictures folder again. We're already in here. And let's say we want to start organizing our pictures. Maybe we want to make a folder for all of our dog pictures. What you'll want to do is go ahead and right-click on any of the blank white space over here. And then we're going to go down to this New option, and we're going to select Folder. So again, right-click any blank spot, scroll down to New. When you hover over it, this little menu over here will pop up, and then left-click Folder. You'll see it's made a new folder, and it's ready for us to give it a name. So on your keyboard, you'd type something like Dogs, and then either hit the Enter key or click anywhere off the folder. Now we have this Dogs folder. Now to get the pictures in there, there's a few different ways you can go about it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at drag and drop. So one thing you could do is one photo at a time, drag it and drop it into this folder. You drag a file by left-clicking and then holding the left click down. And you can see now when I move the mouse, it's got this little sort of translucent copy of the file showing that I'm dragging it. And then I can let go of the left click when I'm hovered over the folder, and it'll drop it in there. And again, I'll do this again. So you click the left mouse button and then hold it, and then start moving the mouse around. Drag it over top of the folder. Oops, I accidentally hit the right click button. So left click and hold, drag it over top of the folder, and then release. You could do more than one file at a time by selecting multiples. So what you can do is, again, starting in any sort of white space location, if you left click and drag, you'll see you'll start creating this little blue sort of rectangle. And what that is a selector. You can use that. Anything you drag that over top of will select multiple files. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to left click and hold, and then start moving the mouse around. And I'm going to move this box so that it's around these two photos. And you'll see when I go over top of the photo, they kind of highlight in blue. So that means it's selected these two photos. When I let go, you'll see now I have two photos highlighted. Now I can left click and hold over top of any one of them, doesn't matter which, and then start dragging the mouse around. And you'll see now it says 2 on that little preview icon. This means I'm moving 2 files. So I'm going to go over top of the folder icon. I'm going to release the left click. And now it's moved those folders in there. So now if we go into this file, and again, remember, anything on this right side of the screen here, we have to double click on. If I double click on dogs, you'll see we now have these four photos inside of the dogs file, or inside of the dogs folder. And so again, to reiterate the primary function of the File Explorer, and I'll start from the beginning here, you'll access it by clicking on this folder on the bottom of your taskbar here. On the left side are all your locations, and on the right side are all of the items inside each location. So if we wanted to access our pictures, we would left click Pictures over here, and this would show us our pictures or any folders we have in here. In this case, we have a dogs folder, so I can go ahead and double click on the dogs folder, and that takes us in here to our pictures of dogs. Most people are going to primarily use these three locations here. So you're going to use it to access your pictures, your documents, and anything you downloaded from the internet. Your internet downloads will by default go to this folder here. So that covers the basics of using the File Explorer. In the next video, we'll go ahead and take a look at some common settings you may want to change on your computer. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to be notified for future content. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.